Hey everybody, it's MommaOG. I am back with another reaction. I have another donation request. This time comes from Todd F. Thank you so much, Todd. He would like to, one of the songs he would like me to hear is Rush, La Via Strangiato. I'm probably saying that wrong. La Via Strangiato, La Villa, I think it's Via, La Via Strangiato. Anywho, I made every attempt to say it. Now, I am very familiar with Rush, as I've said in the Malignant Narcissist reaction. I'm very familiar with a lot of their stuff, but not everything. And this is pretty sure this is one of them. I have heard of this song. I knew that it existed, but I do not believe that I've heard it. And if I have, it's probably just bits and pieces, maybe like the first minute. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. Now, having or knowing Rush, even as much or as little as I know them, I know that Neil, who did a lot of their, or who did most of the lyrics for their songs, I know there's a lot of meaning and depth behind many of their songs. So I've got the wiki page for this song brought up, and I just want to get an idea of the background on this song. That's important to me when it comes to Rush. So La Via Strangiato was released on the 1978. Was Neil part of Rush then? I don't know if he was. I know there was a period of time like they had an album that he wasn't on. But anywho, it was on Hemispheres. It is subtitled An Exercise in Self-Indulgence. 9-minute, 37-second song. The fourth and final track on the album was Rush's first entirely instrumental piece. Okay. Which many followed, I know. The multi-part piece was inspired by a dream guitarist Alex Lifeson had. Okay. And the music in these sections correspond to the occurrences in his dream. The opening segment was played on a nylon string classical guitar. Beautiful. The next segment introduces the main theme of La Via, the Strangiato theme. The song progresses to include an increasingly complex guitar solo, of course, backed by string synthesizer, followed closely by bass and drum fills. The Strangiato theme is then revisited before the song ends abruptly with phased bass and drums. The piece is divided as follows. Okay, so then it goes through all the sections. So it's like a 12 part. Looks like 12 parts. Kind of rusty on my Roman numerals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. Okay, so this is based on a dream that Alex had. I wonder who wrote it. Does it say here? Maybe you guys can let me know who wrote it. For now, let's get started. This is from their official page, so I love it, the brain. Let's see when this video came out, 6 years ago. Okay. Shit. It sounds very Rush so far. I'm sorry, I have to know, when did Neil Peart Join Rush. I have to know if this is him on the drums or not. I'm thinking it's not. 74. Oh, okay. Okay, so it is him. Maybe he wrote the song. So this is definitely him. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I just had to know. It sounded like I'm already hearing some very Neil drumming. Let's back it up a little. Keep going. This part sounds a little familiar. It sounds very familiar. Yes, I believe I have heard some good chunks of this song because, but I've never like sat down like this to really focus my attention 100% on the song. My partner Mike, his favorite band in the whole world is Rush, so it gets played in my, this Rush gets played quite a bit in my house, and Pink Floyd. So that might be where I've heard it in passing. It's not a song that I would have sat down on my own to listen to back in the day when I was listening to a lot of their stuff. There was a couple of albums that I listened to. The one that Passage to Bangkok is on, was it Moving Pictures or 2112? Both of those albums I kind of know pretty well. I know I've listened to them back to front, both of those albums back to front, because that's just what I used to do when I was really young. My sister and I would get albums and I would just put one on and just play it over and over again over long periods of time. But that's just kind of what we did back in the day. But this part of the song is sounding very familiar. So I do believe that it's something I might have heard in passing, Mike playing it just when we're hanging out, or if I'm, doing something and he's doing something in the studio, but I have never sat down to listen to it intently like this. So let's back it up and keep going. I gotta stop pausing it too. We're never gonna get through it. Yeah. Definitely sounds familiar. You know what? I just realized something, that I sound like an idiot now. I was like, who wrote the song? Who wrote the lyrics? And there's no lyrics to this song. Sorry. Just dawned on me. this part doesn't sound familiar. Listen to that drum. It makes my head hurt. Yeah, this is definitely new. Yeah, this is not sounding familiar. Okay, Getty. Jesus. Holy shit. This part sounds very familiar to me. Yeah, this sounds familiar. Are these Neil's brain scans? It was 6 years ago, so it's possible. Yeti. Oh man, is that it? That went by really fast. I was expecting a lot more to come. I have so many things to say. First of all, the fact that a brain was featured in this entire video makes me wonder if it's related to Neil. You know, aside from the obvious skills he had as a drummer, I think his brain and the way he thought about things and his lyrics, his ability to write some of the best lyrics I've ever heard in my life, and those intricate drum lines and, you know, his brain was probably his best feature. I don't know if that makes sense, but his brain was definitely extraordinary. And ultimately, I believe he passed away from having a brain tumor. So I was wondering when I was watching that, when I first saw the brain, I thought of Neil, not just because of the way he died, but just his genius in writing and playing the drums. And really, when you talk about genius, you have to talk about all three of these guys, Geddy and Alex and Neil, in their own individual right, are all genius level. And the fact that the three of them found each other and were together for so long and made so much amazing music is just incredible to think about. And the other thing I thought of during that was if Bach or Beethoven were around in the modern days, they are our version of them in modern times. There's no argument. I don't care what anybody says. You could compare this to some of the best classical music that's ever been, and it would hold a candle. It's just incredible to think about. It makes me a little sad too, because, you know, not a lot of people, I know that Rush is very well loved, has a huge fan base, but in my opinion, they're still underrated. Not enough people know about this band. I found that out. I was shocked and appalled when I started doing compilations on my other channel. Like, I can't believe there's actually that many people who haven't heard the song Tom Sawyer. The first thing I thought was this can't be a real reaction. Everyone's heard this. But I learned that no, not everybody's heard it. And that's a shame. That's a damn shame. But it also was part of the intrigue of of watching reactions is, you know, I'll never forget the first time I ever heard a Rush song. And I will never have that moment again until, you know, except for like Tom Sawyer, I'll never hear that song again for the first time. But it's almost as good watching somebody else hear it for the first time who really hears it. So I've got goosebumps just saying that, because this was the first time I ever sat down to listen to this song. There were definitely a couple of parts that were the same in the beginning and near the end there that sounded familiar. I had heard those parts before, but this song just completely shows just how genius all three of these guys were. You know, being somebody that's attracted to drummers in general, just a beat, you know, and then a bass guitar would be another thing that kind of catches my attention. Just, it's like the rhythm of a song that gets me. This song completely represents the genius, both individually of these three guys and the genius of them as a band. And there's a lot of amazing music, a lot of amazing musicians, but there will never be anybody like this, like Rush. I'm sorry. There's also some other, I mean, like I said, they're just special. They're just very special. And I am also sad that I didn't really recognize the genius of this band and really put that much energy and focus into them and their genius as a band until I was older. But I did love them in the 70s and 80s when I was listening to those albums. I just didn't appreciate it for what it was at the time. We are huge Rush fans in this house, but this was incredible to be able to sit down and hear another Rush song that I've never heard. It's just weird, kind of. You know, when I started thinking about doing my own reactions, I knew Rush was going to be a band I wanted to deep dive, and I'm so glad I'm getting the opportunity to do that. Like really do that. You know, you sit down and listen to new music on your own time, and you know, you're doing other stuff, and it's this process here helps me really hone in on what I'm hearing. Anyway, I'm talking my head off. I feel like there's so much more I want to say about this song and what I heard. The one thing with Rush also, especially I'm finding even with just the two songs that I've heard that I don't know very well or haven't heard at all, they are a band that like the transitions and the sections, you know, it's hard to like just when you've got the beat of one section, it changes. And that is also a signature of them, and Tool's like that as well. There's lots of bands like that. There's just so much about this band that I probably have yet to discover. I mean, and I know how amazing they are. I know how special they are, but there's probably so much more that's to come that's going to blow my effing mind, and that's what I'm really excited about with this. So Todd, thank you so much for suggesting this one. Please let me know what else from them that you probably guess I haven't heard. This is going to be tricky with them because I have heard a lot of their stuff, but there's so much that I haven't. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you all being here to watch this, and I will see you next time.
Danny, this all happens every morning. Fresh sliced lettuce, tomatoes, and freshly grilled bacon. But I take the job of bacon manager very seriously. Is that a real job? Definitely. Freshly prepped every morning. It's a Jersey Mike.